This has been my absolute favorite story all week, and it involves my favorite disgraced CNN anchor, Don Lemon. As you know, Don Lemon got fired from CNN a while back, and since then, he has recently reemerged announcing that he's going to do a partnership with X, with Elon Musk, very similar to what Tucker Carlson did. They're partnering up. Don Lemon's going to have his own show, and for his very first, well, before his show began, he wanted to start by doing an interview with Elon Musk. It was shortly after that interview came out that we found that Elon abruptly fired him. But before we go into why, let's look at a piece of this interview because I watched the whole thing myself, and you be the judge of it yourself. Let me know what you think. But this was one of the worst interviews I've ever seen. It was very clear from the very beginning that it was not in good faith on Don Lemon's part. It was filled with gotcha questions. He clearly had an agenda and was not listening to anything that Elon was saying. So here's a piece of that interview.
Believe that X and you have some responsibility to moderate hate speech on the platform? That you wouldn't have to answer these questions from reporters about the Great Replacement Theory as it relates to Democrats?
I don't have to answer these questions.
The Great Replacement Theory as it relates to Jewish people. Do you think that?
I don't have to answer questions from reporters. Don, the only reason I'm doing this interview is because you're on the X platform and you asked for it. Otherwise, I would not do this interview.
So you don't think do you think that you wouldn't get in trouble or you wouldn't be criticized for these things?
I'm criticized constantly. I could care less.
Do you believe that X?
It was about 24 hours after that interview that Elon Musk texted Don Lemon and said the contract is canceled. One very important thing to know, just because their contract is canceled does not mean that Don Lemon can't still use X. He can still use it. He can still post his show on X. He can even still earn ad revenue on X. They're just not going to be in partnership together. That's a very important distinction to make. So Don Lemon went on CNN, and I want you to see his reaction before I show you the best part of this whole story. Watch what Don Lemon had to say on CNN about the canceled contract and about the interview that he had. Also, keep in mind, CNN also fired Don Lemon. So Don Lemon was fired from CNN. Here's his appearance.
First of all, it's good to see you, Aaron. Thank you for having me on. That's a good question for Elon Musk. Quite frankly, what happened? I don't know. As I said in my statement, I felt really good about the interview. I said to him as we were doing the interview, and it was tense at moments, but you've been involved in tense interviews. Yeah. I said to him, I think it's good that people see folks like you and I who have different worldviews come together and talk, as he says, have free speech. Free speech is only important when someone you don't like, or I would say someone who doesn't have your same point of view, or someone is, if they're allowed to speak freely and to say their point of view. Apparently that doesn't matter to Elon Musk. It's just for maybe talking points for.
Well, since then, we have actually found out that there's a lot more to this than just one bad interview, despite Don Lemon saying that Elon Musk has renegated against his freedom of speech platform, and apparently it's not freedom of speech. Well, according to the Daily Mail and the documents they obtained, Don Lemon was making some pretty wild demands in his contract. So apparently he wanted Elon Musk to send him to space so he could make his first show in space. He wanted a Tesla Cybertruck, $5 million up front, and he essentially wanted a major say in what was allowed on X. And the way the Daily Mail put it, Don Lemon didn't just want to a partnership with X. He wanted to run the show with a series of outlandish demands that he would control and censor news content and talent across the entire platform. And what's funny too is originally rumors came out about these outlandish demands, and Don Lemon's team was like, no, this is false. And then the Daily Mail is claiming they have receipts. So if you want to pause to read that right there, you can. So let me know what you think. Do you think Don Lemon was being censored, or do you think possibly Elon could have looked at this and said, you know what, this is way too much of a headache. I gave you an opportunity, so we're just going to go ahead and cut losses, call it quits.